All right, Mr. Cox, how you doing today?
How you doing, Mr. Suleiman? We're back for another show. We're gonna always give it to you from our perspective and keep it as real as possible for you.
Yes, sir,
This
as always, man.
this week's show is the first of a series, a four-part series on 250 in America. As you may know, this 4th of July will mark 250 years in America, which is by all all brands or whatever. It should be a great year.
Mhm.
But the person in the White House has made it not so great, and we're going to do this by doing a four-part series while he's doing a wrestling match in the White House, or MMA or WWE or whatever it is. They're building a whole brand new facility. He says it's not the taxpayers' dollars, it's privately funded and stuff, but we know how his private funding usually go.
Yeah,
And
all the countries that are bought access into the United States government.
yep, there you
That's who's
go.
paying for it.
Yep. So this first episode in the four-part series called "Before the Birth of a Nation," we were already here. Family, welcome back to another episode of Gents Making Sense. Today we're stepping into a different kind of conversation, a deeper one, necessary one, because America is turning 250 years old, 250. And while the nation is celebrating its millennium, we're asking a different question. What does 250 years mean when your people were here 157 years before the birthday party even started?
Yeah, that's the part they don't teach. Before the fireworks, before the flag, before the founding fathers, Black people were already here, already working, already resisting, already shaping the soil this country would grow from.
So today we're going back, not to rewrite history, but to restore it. This episode number 1 of our 4-part America 250 series, Before the Birth of a Nation, we were already here. Segment 1, take us on there, Suleiman.
Yeah, the unspoken beginning. Let's start with the truth that still makes people uncomfortable. America didn't begin with freedom, it began with contradiction.
And Black people were at the center of that contradiction from day one. When the first Africans were brought to the colonies in 1619, the idea of America didn't even exist yet. But our labor, our knowledge, our bodies, they were already being used to build the foundation of what would become the United States.
Yeah, people forget, or they pretend to forget, that enslaved Africans brought skills and culture. Rice cultivation, ironworking, carpentry, agriculture, medicine, navigation, science, etc. We weren't blank slates, we were specialists.
And that's why the colonies depended on us, not just for labor, but for survival. The wealth that financed the revolution, the tobacco, the rice, the indigo, the cotton, black hands, black backs, and black brilliance.
And then there's Crispus Attucks, the first American to die during the Revolutionary War, a black man, Afro-Indigenous, who became the first person to die for the American Revolution. The first blood spill for freedom he would never get to experience.
That's the part that hits me. The first American martyr wasn't even considered American, but he believed in a future he'd never see. And that's been the story of Black people in the country ever since.
Yeah, we fight for freedom that keeps moving the goalposts, but we still fight.
Let me see. There we go. So we're gonna talk about this segment a little bit. We want to go straight through that so we can give you some background on that first part about how we got here, why we got here, and the part that they always leave out, that We had all these skills before we got here, and we brought these skills to America. And America used those skills to enrich themselves and said that they were the greatest country in the world, and we just were laborers.
Yep.
Say what do you say, Suleiman?
Yeah, I mean, I've always said that is that, black folks need to stop looking at themselves as just people that came here enslaved. I mean, there were multiple African empires prior to coming to the United States. Mali Empire, the Benin Empire, the Zulu Nation Empire, the Egyptian Empire, the Kemet Empire, Kush. Those are all black, dark skinned black kingdoms. Long before they were building pyramids and running governments and running water and having a full government in place thousands of years prior to us coming to this country. So we didn't come here as just slave labor. We came here more as for our minds, which is why the majority of the things that were created or invented in this country have black minds and black hands on it.
Good, well said. And that's the part that you never hear. They make it seem like we were animals, and the only thing we were built for was labor, and which is not true. We're gonna move on to segment two. I'm sorry, the founding lie and the founding truth. We just talked about a little bit of that. Let's talk about the Declaration of Independence. You know the line: all men are created equal.
Except the man writing it owned over 600 enslaved people, and the man editing it owned hundreds more. And the men signing it, most of them were plantation owners.
So the founding documents were written with a lie baked in. But here's the twist: Black people forced that lie to become a truth over time.
Exactly. Every generation of black folks has pushed America closer to the ideas it claimed to believe in. We made all men are created equal mean something. We made liberty and justice for all mean something. We made the Constitution live up to its own words.
And that's why our story matters, because America didn't evolve on its own. It evolved because Black people demanded to evolve.
Yeah, we were and we always have been the conscience of this country, the mirror, the pressure, the proof that the founding fathers wrote checks they couldn't cash. So we cashed them ourselves. The reality is that Thomas Jefferson, as educated and as smart as he was, and as thought provoking as some of the words that he actually wrote, he was a walking contradiction. I mean, this is a man who helped write and develop and start a new country, but he had an enslaved person that he was um, essaying um, daily in his home. So again, a walking contradiction. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, acknowledge that the majority of the people who started this country did not believe in what they claim this country was going to be about.
Yeah. Imagine you writing something on a piece of paper and not knowing it will come back to smack you right in the face.
Right.
That's exactly what happened. It smacked them right in the face.
Hmm.
All men are created equal. I guess they wouldn't figure out that Black people are men, are
Hmm.
human beings too. So it smacked them right in the face. And God don't like ugly, and that's an example of God not liking ugly,
There
using
you
your
go.
own words to get back at you.
Yep.
And I just can't say it no better than what you just said. It's really ridiculous.
Yep.
So, segment three, what's this means for Black men today?
All right. It means you carry a weight you didn't ask for, a history you didn't choose, but also a legacy you can be proud of.
It means understanding that your existence is not accidental, it's foundational. You come from people who built nations while surviving the impossible. You come from people who created culture under oppression. You come from people who fought for rights they weren't allowed to have.
Yeah, and I'm just add to that and say that you also come from people who taught the world. We all, again, I said it earlier and I continue to say it, is that people who share our reflection ran the world for thousands of years prior to us coming here. thousands of years. All you gotta do is go back and look at Spanish documentaries, English, Italian. All the Europeans knew who we were. They all knew exactly who we were, what we created. You talk about Socrates and all the so-called philosophers. They got their information, they got their studying from Egypt, from black folks, from Lower Nile to Sudan. They got all of their information from that. Timbuktu in Africa used to be one of the had the biggest libraries in the world, and people would go there to learn. So this concept that black folks don't have any intelligence and we haven't accomplished anything is ridiculous on
Yeah,
its face.
yeah.
Um, and that's why the narrative of black inferiority never made sense. How can the people who built the foundation be inferior to the people standing on it?
You can say that again. Say it louder and say it for the folks in the back, you know?
Mhm.
They don't understand and they don't wanna understand it, and that as simple as that.
Black men are not a threat. We are a blueprint. We are a reflection of resilience. We are the continuation of a story that started long before America had a name.
And when you know your history, you walk differently, you speak differently, you expect differently. Because you understand that you're not just part of America. America is part of you. And we're gonna reflect on this segment a little bit in that you can tie this into almost every episode we've had this year, almost, where we've been trying to say where we stand as black men and black people in America and we can go as far back as when we talked about all the great scientists that created different things, that discovered different things. We can go back to those episodes where we talked about that. We can go back to the episode where we have the great leaders, black leaders and everything. So this part of this episode ties in all the things that we've been talking about. You got to know from which you come to see where you're on, where your journey is on the way to. And I think that as black people, we don't spend enough time doing that. We think a lot of, in my opinion, a lot of our people think that our time started with America. They don't go back to look where our time really when you look at Jewish people, they go to Israel and they wanna see where their people and where their heritage start. Some Germans, some Italians are another group like that. Italians they want to go to the motherland so that they know where their families are from in their culture. Asian Americans are the same way. As Black Americans, we've been told that it started when you were a slave, and a lot of us can't get our mind past that point where we were slaves. We can we finally conditioned ourselves to talk about that when we were slaves, because for a long time we didn't want to talk about it because people told us let's not look back, let's look forward. You know, who else do who what other race or culture did they tell don't look at your past or don't look at your culture? I don't know no other race that's being told that, you know? So I think we need to look a little bit further than slavery. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'll just piggyback on what you were saying. Is the problem with that is and this has always been my father was really um, supportive of this. Our problem is that we always allow people who are not us, who don't share our reflection, into our community because we have always been a community of acceptance. We
And
need to
include
stop that. No other culture in this country, no other race in this country allows people to infiltrate what they do and make decisions about our culture. We do that. We always bringing somebody from the outside into our culture and allowing them to dictate to us how we live our lives. We need to stop doing that. We need to take the Nation of Islam model. Is that we're bringing in people who are like-minded to share our reflection to determine our goal. You can participate by offering financial support. or loaning us or allowing us to use a building or a facility that you own. But no, you cannot join our organization. You cannot be at the table when we're making decisions that involve our community. And that's the problem. That happens all the time with our community. When we try to do something that is specific for our community, doesn't hurt anybody else, we're doing it for our community, we allow other people to come in and infiltrate our what we're trying to get accomplished. And that is part of our problem. So until we do that and start realizing that it's us first and then everybody else second, we're going to continue to have the problems we're having.
Gotcha. There's a simple formula and there's a simple example that is microcosm of what you just said. When you have a interracial marriage or couple and a child come from that interracial union, normally the child assimilate to the black culture because the black culture accepts that child.
Yep,
While most of the time the other culture, be it white, even Hispanic, Asian, they have a hard time accepting that child.
sure.
But we always accept that child, and that child always assimilates to the black culture.
Yep,
That's a great example of it right there, because we're always about inclusion and stuff.
right.
We don't block anybody off of our culture and everything, you know. So
Yeah,
what is our next segment there?
you're right there closing. It's you as America celebrates 250 years.
Okay. Yeah, so short segment, short episode. We're gonna close it out by saying, as America celebrates 250 years, we're not here for to rain on their parade, on the parade. We're here to remind the country and ourselves that our story didn't start in chains. It started in brilliance, in skill, in humanity, and contributions.
And before America turned, Black people were already 157 years deep into the story.
You got that. So as we move through this series, remember this: we didn't arrive in America. America arrived because of us.
In the next 250 years, we're not just participating, we're shaping it.
Family, thank you for rocking with us. This was episode 1 of our 4-part series, America 250. Next episode, we're diving into 250 years of Black resistance and how we bent the arc of this nation.
Stay grounded, stay brilliant, stay Black. We'll see you next time.
You have another note for us today?
I do. This is, I'm going to go into our ridiculous, unqualified Secretary of Defense. This clown, did it again. Goes to a military academy graduation and starts running around talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And let me say this: our Secretary of Defense is the biggest non-qualified DEI hire in the history of the United States. This man is an idiot. What has he accomplished? What did he accomplish to make him qualified to be Secretary of Defense other than kissing Donald Trump's butt on a talk show? This is the man who was a drunk before becoming Secretary of Defense. Had to be told you had to give up drinking or control your drinking to get the job. Show me somebody in our community that had to be told that in order to get a job. Name any Secretary of Defense candidate or Secretary of Defense over the last 100 years that had to have that. And this man's got the audacity to go and stand amongst highly educated, highly trained, superior physical specimens in our United States military officers and tell them that diversity is not a strength of the United States military. Really? I mean, we can go back to World War One. I mean, if you want to talk about war, we can go back to World War One and talk about the Harlem Hellfighters, who were decorated with almost every French medal for courage and ability that you could get during World War One, because the United States wouldn't allow them to fight for the United States. Or the Civil War. How many battles did the all Black units win during the Civil War, or World War II with Tuskegee Airmen, or the 761st Division, Tank Division. I can go on and on, Secretary of Defense. And Americans sit here and allow this trash, allow this little punk to go on TV and to say the stuff that he says about other Americans. It's ridiculous. He's the biggest DEI hire. He's the most unqualified hire in the history of this country, just like most of the other people in this administration's cabinet are unqualified. The only thing that makes them qualified is the fact that they have white skin and that they kiss Donald Trump's butt. That's what gets them into the position they're in. Not education, not experience, not being the best qualified, all the other things. And then he has the nerve to go to a military graduation and say the stuff that he says about candidates that he's looking right at. And my final thing is to say, if administration, that's what you want, then don't allow Black people to go into the military. If that's what you want, don't allow Black people to go into the military. Just put out an executive order, since that's what he loves doing, saying, we're not allowing Black people to go into the military. And let's see how efficient the military is without Blacks, Asians, Spanish, or all the other people who don't look like
Let,
President Trump or the
let's not
Secretary of
forget
Defense.
women while you're at it,
Or
because
warning, let's
they don't
let's
like
just do an
women.
executive order and not allow anybody in. Let's just have an all-male white military, and let's see how strong we are. Let's see how efficient we are. I'll just end
Exa
it with that.
Yeah, that's a strong on another note there, because I wanna add a little bit. I wanna get in on that one because, he has got to be the worst Secretary of Defense in the history of America, and the things he say and do, everybody in America know this man is not qualified. Everybody. The crazy thing about it, they are so afraid to say so. And the only qualification that anybody has to have to be in a Trump administration is to look stupid, act stupid, and make Trump look smart. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
And if that ain't DEI, I don't know what DEI is. Your qualification is to look and act stupid and make Donald Trump look smart. And they make him look smart because they're acting so dumb. And if they are not dumb, it's even crazier because they're dumbing down to that point, you know? So,
Did not earn it. That's
yeah,
what DEI stands for when it comes to this administration. Did not earn it.
yeah,
None of
yeah,
them.
for sure, for sure. And on another note, for me, it's right down that same alley. Iran is what you call in the military a clusterfuck. That's exactly what it is, right? And
Yep.
you got you got people that are not qualified, that are not diplomats, trying to put together a ceasefire, when the ceasefire is in place, a deal to stop this war. Jared Kushner, come on, y'all, come on. Where's the diplomat in this? And the one diplomat that is there, he don't get the kind of shine he need. I would be even happier if what's his name was in there, the Secretary of State, Little Marco. You know, if Little
Well, I
Mar
mean, but that's what happens when when you shut down the diplomatic federal agency in the United States. That's what
exactly,
USAID is. USAID was a diplomatic uh, humanitarian agency in the United States, and they crushed it,
yeah.
shut it down.
Crazy. Just ridiculous. So it's a cluster over there. You got that going on. While you got that going on, a so-called ceasefire, and we're shooting at them. They shooting at us. We were told that their nuclear stockpile and their nuclear program was devastated and knocked out offline a year ago. And now we know that that's a lie. And now they're trying to figure out how to get out of this war without looking stupid. We already lost this war if you
Oh,
wanna look at it.
that train has left the
Yeah.
station.
This war has been lost. The only way we'll win this war now is probably just tear the whole country down and take it over. That's the only way we can win because believe it or not, they done kill all these leaders. Israel, We killed all these leaders, and they got even worse leaders now in place. And they even got more power right now. They've been devastated. They don't even have a military hardly,
What
and
what
still got more power.
what does I mean, why should they come to the negotiating table? I mean, I
Exactly.
said this over a month ago. Why should Iran come to the negotiating table with them? You've already bombed them, right? You've already tried to put sanctions up against them to starve them, right? You essentially created additional enemies in the Middle East. You initially created a whole generation of additional enemies. And Iran is not a small country. They have 90 million people in their country. They have fought kingdoms from Persia all the way to Iran for 1,000 years. And they're still here. And you think you're going to drop a couple bombs on this country, kill a couple of their leaders, and all of a sudden they're going to come crawling back to the table to sign an agreement? No, you've hardened them. You've made them to the point now where they're not going to settle without getting what it is that they want. So you've created a something that the next president and the next administration is going to have to deal with for a decade. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's all right. Like I was saying, remember when we first went there, we said we are gonna help the people free themselves. Now we starving the same people we said we gonna help free. We're starving them to death.
Well, you gotta ask yourself as an American, why are we going to Iran to help the Iranian people? There are people here in the United States that we should be helping. You could take all that money that we just used to try to bomb Iran into submission and put that into the communities in the United States. Put
It,
that into the rural area in West Virginia, in Appalachia, in the South. Put it down there where it belongs. It's our money, it's taxpayers' money. But you want to use it to go what? Create another government because the Israelis don't like the Iranians? Seriously? There are a lot of countries in this world that don't like Israel. So should we go and bomb Israel? Should we go and drop bombs on
you know they mighty quiet these days. You ain't hearing much from 'em.
because the grand plan is not working. The grand plan is, oh, let's get regime change. Well, we saw how that worked in Iraq. I mean, how many American soldiers lost their life in Iraq? What do we accomplish there? Iran still has a hold on a lot of Iraq politically.
We don't learn, man. We just don't learn. President after president, administration after administration, do we continue to think that we can bomb people into submission, and we just can't. You
No.
don't win wars on the battlefield. You don't. You can on the battlefield, you can set conditions to help you win a war, but you're not gonna win the war on the battlefield. So,
I mean,
I
not only before you go, let me just say this: is that the reason that you have the big stick is in case that you need it. It's not the first thing that you should use. We have people in this country that understand all the geopolitics in Iran and that part of the world. They could
mhm.
have went to the table and negotiated with the Iranians, like President Obama did a decade ago. We let those people go over and negotiate. Iran has always said that they don't want war with anybody. They're not out to conquer anybody. Sit down at the table with them and say, okay, what do we need to do to bring this to close? What do we need to do to ensure that you're able to protect yourself because they do have a right, they're a sovereign country. They do have a right to protect themselves and to purchase and develop weapons that will secure their country, like everybody else in the world is able to do. Who is United States to think we can go in and tell people what they can and cannot have when we got thousands of missiles that will destroy the entire earth 5, 6, 7 times over?
Yep.
It just doesn't make any sense, man. It
The
does
thing
not make sense that we think that certain people should be able to have certain weapons and we don't. Who's the only country in the world that ever dropped a nuclear bomb? It
exactly,
wasn't Iran.
yeah. So this is you said exactly what I'm getting ready to say in a different way. I remember there was a time when they said North Korea cannot have a nuclear bomb. They will not have a nuclear bomb. They got a nuclear bomb. What has changed? They ain't fools. They drop their 1 or 2 nuclear bombs. Guess what's gonna happen to them? They gonna get knocked off the face of the earth. Iran build a nuclear weapon. Guess what? They're not fools. They're not gonna sit no nuclear weapon at nobody when you got Russia, China, and America that can destroy them in one day, the whole freaking country almost. W Nobody wants to have nuclear weapons, but if Iran get a nuclear weapon, the end of the world is not gonna come.
It's a deterrent. It's a deterrent. It's no different than all these, yahoos running around who always talking about having the Second Amendment and having a weapon. Well, why do you have a weapon? Because it's a deterrent. Just like great militaries, big militaries, strong militaries, it's a deterrent. You're not supposed to go around the world and bully people, with your military power. It's a deterrent, meaning that if you attack us, the response is going to be overwhelming, where we're going to
Exactly.
destroy you. That's the purpose.
Use
And again, as I said before, now what you've done with Iran is you created a new generation of Iranians that are coming up that are saying, why wouldn't we want to get a nuclear bomb? Look what they've done to us, and we don't have one. And we weren't trying to get one. Look what they've done. Look what the Trump administration did to our country. So the first opportunity they get to either buy one or develop one, they're going to do it. It's going to happen. I don't care what deal they sign. Why wouldn't
mhm,
they break the deal? United States broke the deal. So
exactly, exactly. I it all goes back to it wasn't even long ago when they were like, "North Korea cannot have a nuclear weapon. North Korea cannot have a nuclear weapon." Yeah. They get a nuclear weapon, what has happened? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. You
well,
know?
and then you go ahead.
No, you can go ahead and finish
No,
it
I was
up.
just saying, and they're losing the influence that the United States used to have around the world.
Mhm.
Nations are looking at the United States saying, "Oh, they're not as strong as people thought they were." Because that's
Yeah.
really what Iran is proving, is that you're not, as big as and strong as you think you are. And two is, why would people want to have agreements with the United States? Because our word is not worth anything now, because the Trump administration has essentially scrapped all the agreements, the majority of the agreements that we have created in this country. Why would I do business with the United States? Why would I allow a US company to come into my country and, I don't know, mine for my resources, or a US medical company to come in and, assist us with medical stuff? Why would I do that?
Mhm.
The United States used to have our word used to mean something. When we said we were going to do it, we used to do it. There's not a leader in the country, in the world, that looks at Donald Trump and this administration and says, if I sign a contract with the United States, is it going to hold? Not a single country. And why? Because we've broken it. We've taken our word and we've destroyed it. We trampled on it. But hey, make America great, right? Make America great. No one
Yeah.
respects us. Our allies, who have been our allies for almost 200 years, I mean, for over 200 years, don't trust us. Our European allies don't trust us.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah.
So my final thought with that is the funny thing about the agreement that gonna make, they can change it, they can color it any kind of color they want to, and that's what Donald Trump is trying to do, and that's what we don't have why we don't have an agreement right now. He's saying that we are not in no hurry as the American public suffer under stifling gas prices and food prices going up. I mean, ridiculous at ridiculous prices and stuff. Have you tried to buy hamburger meat, beef, late is crazy. Um, so the thing is the reason why this is dragging along is Donald Trump and everybody in this administration know any agreement that they that they sign with Iran is going to look similar to the one that they just tore up and threw away from Barack Obama.
Yeah. So,
And the crazy thing about that, it probably will be worse of an
sure.
agreement.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because he just wants to be able to come out and tell the American people, oh, I got a deal.
Yeah, exactly. If you
And
did
I'm
great.
going to say one more thing before we get off.
Mhm.
I want to say that I want to support the NAACP and the people down in the South that are essentially telling our athletes to not go to schools in Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, these states that think that they can continue to degrade our ability to vote and this jerry rigging of the districts. Don't go there. Dads, moms, don't go there. You can send your kid to Oregon, Washington, other Ohio State,
D1
Michigan.
school.
You can go to any D1 school that you want to, or HBCU school. You don't have to send your kids there. Take
Yes.
the opportunity now while we have leverage and make a decision that is going to let them know where we're coming from. Nothing is in Alabama without Alabama football.
Yeah. We got
Louisiana,
pro athlete we got pro athletes in that state too, in those states also.
exactly.
Yeah.
You can make a difference. All you got to do is look at our history. Our pro athletes and our athletes throughout time have stood for something and made civil change and progress with the way this country treats our people to share our reflection. It's not about money. You can go get money with the NIL from any university in the United States. You do not have to go to those universities.
Yeah. Exactly. Let's just hope that we think like that, think like the kings and queens we are. And as we close up, I want to say stand tall, speak the truth, and move like your ancestors invested in you, like always.
Yes,
This
sir.
is what this episode is always about. Move like your ancestors invested in you. Thanks a lot, man. Once again, peace out. Good show. Thank you.
Yes, sir, man. We'll see you guys.